live, I think. We'll see. I'm going to start the song over. We'll see if I am... oh, do I hear me? That sounds like me. Okay. Hello and welcome to Movie Crap Live, or the 2025 Oscar reactions. Thank you, Cornbread. Hello, Jordan Salafalo, Cornbread, Austin. I saw Nathaniel Foga, Super Dusky. Who else is here? Super Dusky, Serge Salafalo. I think I got everybody who's here so far. But yes, welcome to Movie Crap Live, Oscars Reaction Edition. I will switch over so you can see. Yes, I am wearing a suit. Again, we're doing the Oscars. This is the Oscars reaction thing. Oh, Bobby Big Mac is here. K-Master. Hey, Bobby Big Mac. I'm wearing the suit because it's an Oscar reaction. I do this every year for the Oscar reactions. You gotta dress up for the Oscar. I don't understand when people don't. We're just gonna watch the regular Oscars there. Okay, see what happens when I move in to bring it down. I move anyway. Doesn't matter. I am here. Wait, where's my? Got too many things. Hello, everyone. But yes, we're going to talk about the Oscars. I'll talk about Shrek redesign. I will talk about Kathleen Kennedy, and then we'll do a Greg the Bunny thing, and then we'll be out. We'll do a regular kind of show, but most of it will be about the Oscars. This will actually, maybe I'll do timestamps. I'm hoping. We'll see. I might just fall asleep after this, but I'm wearing a suit. I have the champagne glass ready for the Red Bull and all that stuff. Hello, Al Vasquez. Let's see. Anything going on? It's been a little bit since I streamed last. I don't have much that I can think of to add. Just putting out all sorts of cool stuff, basically. I put out the Oscar Facts video, part 2, which I was happy about. The Demi Moore thing was cool as well. I worked hard on that. It's kind of weird to figure that stuff out because before that would have been like 2 videos, and now YouTube lets you do the longer ones. But I'm happy. I was actually really happy about that one. I thought it was a cool short. I don't know how y'all felt about it, but I thought it was pretty cool. But yes, let's see, what else? Oh, and, the Presents review. I think Captain America was after the last stream. Movie review vote. Lots of shorts. Oh, the Bakshi's Lost cartoon thing. That was, oh, whoa, hello. Thank you, Austin, for the super chat. Okay, before we get to this, and I will like it. Sorry, I couldn't think of... It's hard. This part I got, and I don't have movie trivia because obviously with the Oscars, there's going to be more trivia, so I didn't want to overdo it with the trivia tonight. Anyway, we have the champagne glass. Let's see. Gotta do. Thank you, Bobby Big Mac. Okay, we have the glass. We're gonna pour the Red Bull. I gotta be careful here. Look at that. Ooh. It's almost like champagne. Okay. Cheers. This is better, actually. Maybe I should do this all the time. Cheers to you, Clank Austin. This is kind of cool. Every time we get this transition, I'm actually into that. I don't know. If you guys hate that, please let me know. But also with the $10 super chat said, the actual award doesn't go to La La Land. The real winner is Monster Truck Screech. You guys are the real winner of the Oscars. I can't believe Dick Tracy screwed that up. Nice. Cheers to you, Austin. You know what? Tastes better. This is a regular Red Bull. Nobody really guessed because it wasn't much of an energy drink thing. But yeah, thank you very much, Austin. I like that, though. I did think the Harry Met Sally thing was a bit like... They just did a Manny's commercial like not too long ago on the Super Bowl. It's like not really that's crazy that here. Let's move this over. I gotta actually sorry. I don't have the one that shows me on my end. Oh, there he is. Okay. They just did a mayonnaise commercial. It's like, whatever. Sorry, I cannot think of anything. I guess we saw Dogman. I saw Dogman with my kids, and I got a popcorn bucket, and you'll see that in the Dogman review. And that was a lot of fun. Went to a cool theater that has a lot of arcade games and stuff. And I am happy to have 2 popcorn buckets. I think I posted the 2. These are the 2 genders. Mystery Science Theater and Dogman. You can decide which one is which, I guess. But Dogman's fun. Anyway, I'm hoping to have that review out soon. But that was because I had to, my rest of my family was in another state, and I had to come back to work, and I thought, I'm going to take the kids out and we're going to go to Dogman. Although I'm excited to go, we're excited to do Looney Tunes in a few weeks. We were just talking about that tonight, and we are all very down. And I even looked up what the first Daffy and Porky cartoon is, and I would like to do that on here. I think that would be cool. I'm starting to realize what things I have never done. Like, I've never done Felix the Cat, which I'll talk about when we get to the Shrek 5 thing. So, anyway. I don't want to do too much pre-thing. So let me just say, go over the oh, hello, Sinram. How's it going, man? Let me see. There's not really throwbacks this week because I'm mainly just posting. I repost the Best Picture winner if I have a review of it, and the Best Animated Feature winner, and also because I actually only read one short and it won Best Live Action Short, which is insane. That one as well. But on Friday or Saturday, I'm gonna have a review. The throwback is Snowpiercer because we have a new Bong Joon-ho movie this weekend, which is Mickey 17. It's this weekend, right? Now I'm not sure anymore, but I'm pretty sure. Anyway, so Snowpiercer. I feel like of my Bong Joon-ho reviews, that one doesn't, people forget about that one, so I thought, let's do that one. There'll be other ones throughout the month, but I figured let's give you're actually wearing a Blue Hoodie with shirts. I'm hoping I get through this whole show in this thing. Also, by the way, happy birthday, Jordan Salaflo. If everyone could sing happy birthday in the chat, I don't know how you're going to do that. But, all right, anyway, other things, the next video will probably be the second Silly Symphony review, and the substance will be shortly after, either tomorrow or the day after. But I know Silly Symphony 2 is going to come out. Probably not. I would say most likely, but it's that or the substance. So if you see one, then you know the other's coming out. I can actually say that, I hope. Let's say I hope. Anyway, I hope you have a good birthday, Jordan Salaflo. That sounds cool. All right. Let's just do the normal read through, and then we'll talk about what we're here for mainly, which is the Oscars and all the Oscars related things. And there's a lot of nonsense, of course, but there's, as there always is. All right, so this and everything I do is supported mainly by you, the fans, either through super chats during the show, and I will drink from this amazing champagne glass of Red Bull, or through my Patreon, where you get all sorts of cool stuff, including my exclusive commentary series, which is a Patreon exclusive, and my public access show, my New York public access show, since New York public access is now a pathway to the Oscars. Different New York public access network, I will say, than I was on, but still, I can say, I'm just gonna go with that. Anyway, you get postcards, you get more power in the movie review vote. You can maybe select a movie in the movie review vote if you give enough. All sorts of cool things like that is a part of the Patreon. Or you can give me a super chat and give me lots of energy to keep going, because I woke up at like 5:30 today. So even though I did fall asleep because it was like hungover or drunk from the Oscars, but doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It keeps me going as well. But either that or through the Patreons are great ways to support the show if you're financially able to do so. If not, liking this video or liking any of my videos and subscribing is also a great way. But if you just regularly watch and can't even log into YouTube or anything like that, and that's all you can do. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for watching, and I really appreciate it. Really, it's really wonderful of you. I have a really cool audience, I have to say. Next up is the Discord, which is really cool. It's if you like everyone in the chat who's here right now, and you have always wanted to hang out with these people, you can on the Discord. They're very active. There's the general chat, which is I try to be active in, has a daily question. I will ask what they want me to talk about in movie crap, even though it's mainly the Oscars. I asked anyway, just to be sure. And any other stories, as well as they do a movie watch. I think we're going to do a 5th anniversary thing where I will go to one of the movie watches. It's just a little, schedules is crazy right now, so I will figure that out shortly. Normally, Cornbread does a thumbnail prediction. I don't think he did one tonight. I'm not sure if he did. But they do all sorts of cool stuff. There's a licensed playing card channel. Oh, and I have new, and I'll post these not tonight, but a different, probably soon this week, a playing card, new playing cards I will show off. Because I lost my old cards, but then I found them like yesterday. But I lost them for like a week. Because they're in a hoodie that I forgot about. Because I have a lot of hoodies. Hello, Panavision. How's it going, man? But anyway. It's Leo's. They're pretty cool. It's mainly just the Jokers and the Jacks and stuff, but they're neat. Anyway, what was I gonna say? Yeah, I think that's everything. I didn't mention the Ralph Bakshi thing. I'll mention it later, I guess. But I'm also on Blue Sky, Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. All the things are in the links in the description down below, as well as Ace the Windrider, who does the thing during the break. And I will talk about Ralph Bakshi stuff later, because we should just get on to the Oscars. But hey, Zane Powers, how's it going? Also, I want to thank Zane Powers and Austin for running a great and just founding the Discord. They do a wonderful job. Now, the Oscars was last night. Overall, I actually thought it was a better Oscars than I've seen in a while. And I thought Conan did a really great job. I think he's like perfect as host. He was funny. He was still his Conan self. The sandworm specifically felt like an old Conan bit from Late Night with Conan O'Brien. It very much reminded me of the cuts to Masturbating Bear and everything like that. Okay, sorry. Also Cornbread, also Ryan Welcherson, all the mods. Thank you very much. I'll make a list that I can read off because I'm used to just saying Austin Lee Powers. Regardless, okay. Yes, the sandworm felt like a Conan bit right from like exactly Conan's sense of humor. Even he didn't really get in the way of the show. Which I found interesting because I think like even someone who's as well seasoned at doing award shows as like someone like Chris Rock or Jimmy Kimmel or Jon Stewart does usually a lot of bits and a lot of sketches, and Conan did like the opening, which is like, you know, pretty normal. You do a monologue and you do a thing, and the screen, the screen, the movie theater screen bit, and sort of didn't do other stuff. You know, he cut to the, you know, he really stayed out of the way of the show, which I also thought was a smart move because you didn't really get sick of him. Even if you do like him or not, you wouldn't get sick of him, which I thought was really smart. I also like that it started at 7 on the East Coast because my kids could watch a good portion of it. Usually if it starts at 8:30, they're watching like maybe the beginning. That's about it. You you do have people of all ages want to watch the Oscars, and the later you go, the harder it is for kids to watch your stuff. And I think, it's Sunday, and it makes sense to go on 7 because people legitimately watch stuff at 7 o'clock on Sundays. Like in numbers, sorry, I dropped something. Like 60 Minutes is often one of the highest rated shows of the week, so and that comes on at 7, so it's not like, especially Sunday night, 7 makes a lot of sense. It didn't seem like a lot of people, like, I didn't know that till the day of, so I think maybe if you're going to do something like that, tell people, advertise it. That would have been a good thing. I didn't know that till I was like, wait, when do they come on? What's the deal? And I actually thought, like, are they going to just cut to do the regular thing they used to do, where it's like, it's the Oscars? No, it's not the Oscars. It's a half hour of Oscars red carpet coverage, so they make money on it. Which is like, I have noticed the red carpet stuff is less. I mean, I think it is always a big deal. Hello, person's name I probably can't pronounce. But I've noticed it's still a big deal for the people who care about it, but it's less like overpowering. But I also, maybe that's because media's changing and all that stuff. But I didn't see, even though I thought the guy's like Coleman Domingo's suit was like fucking cool. I really liked his suit actually. I think it was, if you really want to know what I thought was best dressed, I'm sure nobody, there's someone in the chat who's like, finally he's talking about it. But the overall broadcast was, I thought, really good for the most part. You know, there are certain problems with it, and I'll get to those. I'll sort of go through the whole thing. I'm sort of just like saying a beginning thing, and I will talk about all the winners. And I know you guys want me to talk about flow, and I will talk. We're gonna go everything. But it I was generally happy with it. But I also, like, I don't take it too serious. I know I'm like wearing a suit and drinking Red Bull in my kitchen and stuff, but I don't try to take it too super seriously. And so maybe because I'm like talking over it, like the Adrian Brody speech, I've seen so many people get upset about that, and I think we like talked through it, and I did watch it because I'm like, you know, we're going to talk about it on the show. I should watch it. It didn't seem like that. It's like 5 minutes, guys. Like, what the hell is wrong with everybody? Like, I don't know. And then the part where he cut off, he talked about like anti-Semitism. I noticed, I heard for so many people, like, oh, he just talked about nonsense. And I'm like, wait a minute. I don't think that's nonsense. I don't know. Like it, I don't know. I'm just like, I don't think it was like an amazing speech. I'm sure Chalamet would have done a better speech. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. I do notice. I just came back from Monster Trucks 3. Wait, what's not very professional? Well, I did watch everything. I made sure everything I thought I didn't fully see, I rewatched today, just to be clear. Anyway, I did hear about the Hulu stream thing. I did not watch it on Hulu. As you know, I'm pro antenna. We watch it through the antenna. I think that is a bigger deal than we probably realize, because the Oscars, the stories about the Oscars looking for, I thought about, I don't have a t-shirt with a tux print. I used to, not plausible. The Oscars are looking for a streaming home. A lot of the award shows this decade are going to switch over to streaming. And in fact, I would make the prediction that most companies are switching over to streaming services in the 2030s. I don't expect a lot of TV networks to be their primary thing. I think they'll keep them going because they have them and they make money. Nathaniel Foga, did it cut out on YouTube TV? I'm curious. But I think like the fact that they're talking to streamers already, their contract ends in 2028, and Disney screwed up so bad, is not like a good thing. Like they might not, I've heard Netflix is sort of the one they're thinking of going on because of what they're doing with SAG, and it seems to be the SAG thing was more of a political move or whatever. But like, or like a move to like show other award shows, hey, we can do this. I know the Grammys, I forget who I think the Grammys already signed with somebody. But that could have ramifications. Like Disney might lose the Oscars because of this. And I think, that could be a bigger deal than we realize, and the ramifications of that. I'm very curious what the future will be, but I don't think like them. How do you cut off a stream? Like you only have an allotted stream. It's a streaming service. Like how come? I don't understand why. Like I can stream in my kitchen and y'all can't figure out how to stream the fucking Oscars. Like what's going on there? Like that's just, to me, it's like a little stupid. Like you could have just kept it going, right? I mean the technology's there. I'd like to understand the technological limitations there and why it happened, because I think that is the bigger issue. Like they fucked up. Like that's a fuck up. And the fact that a lot of people were complaining, and you missed like the end too. Those are like the big the thing about the Oscars is like you could have, you know, it's really like the thing is you'll watch a thing for 3 hours and the thing everyone's talking about is like the last 5 minutes, like every year. So You really can't do something like that. Oh, Grammys is Paramount, or is it still? Okay, I don't know. But anyway, I do think like a lot of people complaining, but if they don't go with Disney, I'm sure that's one of the reasons they're like, we're not going with Disney. So, hey Dan, how's it going? Anyway, all right. I feel like everyone wants me to just talk about Flow, so I'll talk about Flow and then we'll just go over everything else. How about that? So, Flow won Best Animated Feature. I think that was one of the big. There was a lot of surprise because this was uh um this was a more up in the air year than we've seen from the Oscars in a long time. Usually it's like we're going in, we know it's everything everywhere all at once, or it's, Nomadland, or it's that, we kind of get the idea it could be this. But this year I really do think we had a lot of major upsets, major surprises because of controversy and other things. But Flow winning Best Animated Feature, I think most people, because, as I said before, Chris Sanders, who directed The Wild Robot, has been nominated in Best Animated Feature as many times as both Pete Docter and Hayao Miyazaki, which is a pretty big thing. Like, I think even that is a kind of a big honor to be with those two, is insane. Like, he's the only person who hasn't won, and he still is, I guess. But Flow winning, here's what is really cool about Flow winning is it shows, one, that independent animation can win and foreign animation can win. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, well, it won last year with the Bird and the Heron." I don't really look at that as independent because, like, I mean, I'm sure it's independent from Hollywood, but they also, have two theme parks in Japan and have a merchandising wing. I'm sort of like, I think Flow as the future of independent animation, and I love Studio Ghibli, but they're like a studio pretty much. But Flow is like this small thing. It's like different for animation. Usually, weirder animation doesn't win in this category. Like, it gets nominated. The other good thing about Best Animated Feature is, have you noticed, like, in Austin, I will throw to you, Austin, in the Ask Jim section of Discord, which I forgot to mention, asked me what was, I forgot if he clarified. So if you did, I will look back on this tomorrow. That what was the best, what would the best animation, what would the best lineup of Best Animated Feature, I guess. I'm not sure if you asked that, but I answered it that way. And I said 2009. And one of the things about 2009 is that was the year Secret of Kells got in, and Secret of Kells getting in let them be able to become, let that studio become what it was. And I think the fact that you have a category who is making animators a bigger deal, like that fully made Cartoon Saloon in my mind. I had barely heard of Secret of Kells. And Flow, I had heard of before, mostly because of Will. I don't see him here tonight, but he's a big fan of these guys. And I think that it was building momentum after the nomination really helped it. And as well as we're seeing, and one thing I will talk about, is that the Oscars have really gone more into the foreign film avenue, which I think there are good and bad to that. But this is much more a festival kind of a thing. And also it's a different vibe. I mean, I didn't see Memoirs of a Snail. I'd like to, or Memoir of a Snail. But Inside Out, Wallace and Gromit, and Wild Robot are more of what you expect from animation in those studios. And I think Flow is so different, it really stuck out. And especially because it's a nice watch. It's a weird movie, but it's like, I think a lot of Oscar stuff is weird, but like usually depressing. And I think this is weird and like chill, and like I had a very good experience, like laid back, like nice immersive experience with it. And I think a lot of people probably didn't expect that and watched it and told their friends. You surprise people with a movie, it's really going to make a difference. And I think Flow surprises people. Like, my kids want to watch it. I was going to let them watch it. I'm not sure when, but I think it and it's a big win for animation. Like, it's a major upset and a major good thing. I feel bad for Chris Sanders because I did want him to win, and it did feel sort of like his year with the remakes coming out and all that. But I think Flow will help these guys make another movie, and I think that's what a lot of nominees usually do. Someone like Sebastian Stan, the director of The Substance, whose name I'm not great at saying, those will go on to be able to make other projects with the buzz from this. And I think Flow, those directors of Flow need that buzz. So, like, not only was this a great win, but they're able to be able to make another movie probably with more money and get more audience because they'll say from the makers of Flow. I know they did another movie, which also Will has been trying to get for a while. I was thinking of watching because I had such a good time with Flow. But the fact that this is going to open that director up to more people is an amazing thing. So I don't know if there's too much more to say, but I mean, it wasn't sure. A lot of people said, well, Flow won the Annie, but Wild Robot won the Annie, but they're in different sort of things. So that was hard to, but yeah, I thought it was, I was surprised, but happily surprised. I was also like, I know like it was sort of between Flow and Wild Robot, and Inside Out 2 was sort of, Inside Out 2, man, that thing fell off. Despite being, I think it is the highest grossing film of the year, and it was talked about all summer. And I actually think what really killed it is if you had put that in, if you had put that on streaming on Thanksgiving, I think everyone would have been watching it because it's such a big film. But they peaked it like before Thanksgiving, and then Moana 2 happens, and then this happens, and then that happens, and you sort of forget about it. So I think, I don't know, they really need to figure out something else because you know, I if I was Pixar, I would say I sort of fucked that up, to be totally honest with you. But not that it's not a bad movie. I don't think, I haven't seen My Marvelous Snail, but the ones I saw, they're all good movies. I think it was a better category because Amelia Perez wasn't there. That's what made it better. All right, moving on. Let's talk about, I'm not sure the order of everything. So I'll just go from thing to thing. We're sort of going to bounce around. One thing I really liked about this one is they mentioned The Wiz a lot. And I know The Wiz maybe isn't as important to my childhood or something, but I know it's important to a lot of people. And I thought it was a great year to do it because, you know, you have Wicked there. You have Quincy Jones, who just died, who is a major creative force behind that movie. And it's also true that it would be cool if the Academy, instead of just, you know, the Bond thing was I don't know why we did that, but I do think it worked better. The Wiz thing worked better because it'd be nice if they shouted out to movies that sort of influence the movies that are nominated and kind of show some continuity. And kind of like, and also you turn on film fans you didn't expect necessarily. So Zane Power says, don't you miss the days when Disney would win by default? Not really. I'm okay with them. Does everyone like the bubble feed? I'm gonna do it again. Thank you, Zane Paris. Cheers to you. Not as many bubbles. Oh well, it looked really good at the beginning. Yeah, so the Wiz stuff, because they did it twice. They did the beginning thing where they did Somewhere Over the Rainbow, Ariana Grande sang, and Cynthia Erivo sang a song from the Wiz, I forget which one. And then during the Quincy Jones tribute, Queen Latifah sang a song from the Wiz. I thought that was really cool. It's just a Red Bull. Keep me going. I was fine with that. The Quincy tribute, I think, he's a very influential figure, and I get it. But there's so many, like when they're going through the thing, like James Earl Jones, Shelley Duvall, Gene Hackman, David Lynch, that like you probably could have made the argument to do a segment like that on. So I don't know if that 100% works because Quincy is not as big for the movie stuff. But he's still Quincy Jones, and I'm okay with that. But the Bond thing, yeah, that's stunk. I know everyone has these theories that Amazon paid for it. Yeah, my theory when I was watching it was the movie community is really upset that they gave up creative control, and this was sort of a tribute to what has changed. It wasn't. It was just because they won those awards at the Governor's Ball. There's no need to have a dumb conspiracy theory. It's literally like they had Amazon bought it or had Amazon not made the deal until later this summer. That tribute would have happened either way, by the way. So, just to be clear, like everyone has like Amazon probably gave them $5 million. I'm like, has that happened before? Like, what are you talking about? Anyway, I didn't think it fit. I thought it was probably one of the worst part of the show. I noticed in the montage, very little Roger Moore. What's up with that? That was weird. I was kind of surprised. I noticed a lot of Connery, Brosnan, Craig. Not much Timothy Dalton, which is like, whatever. I get it. He only was in one good one, but anyway, it was just weird. It didn't work. Good for Margaret Qualley getting a moment in the Oscars because she didn't get nominated for The Substance, but and she looked cool. But I was sort of, I didn't think a Bond tribute, and they did one like 10 years ago. Like, stop doing Bond tributes. Like, do something else. Could have used that tribute. You know, it's like, I don't know. I was a little surprised. Like, you know, you have The Substance. You could have done something about gore. You have Conclave. You could have done something about boring religious movies. You could you could have done something about neorealism because it was Sean Baker. You could have done so much stuff, but like you didn't. And like, I don't know. That's my one thing. I like the Wiz stuff. I like calling back to film history. I do have a film history problem I have. Okay. I didn't notice a lot of the silent film people bring this up. So Conan at one point mentions that the first person to win an Oscar is Emil Jennings. And I did say this on Blue Sky and all this stuff. But Emil Jennings is like a big Nazi. And not like, just to be clear, he is not like a modern day one. He was like Hitler was like, hey, do you want to run German film? And he's like, absolutely, dude. I am super into being a Nazi. And he did. And like, this is like, I'll be very clear on this. Like, Greta Garbo was like, this guy sucks. Like, he is a horrible person. She was offered all those things and turned it down and helped America and fought for the good side. He did not. I love him in The Last Laugh. I like the work he did with F.W. Murnau. I talked about him in that Lost Film File I did about one of the Lost Things. But I was surprised nobody on that team went, do not mention him. He sucks. He's like, talk about something else. Like, you can talk about Sunrise or Wings. So I noticed there wasn't much talk about it because he is a really good, like, look, The Last Laugh, you see it, he does one of the best silent film performances of all time. I won't take that away from him, but he's also, like, a huge Nazi. So, like, I think when Berlin fell, he got his Oscar out and was like, no, I'm with you. Look, I have an Oscar and stuff, guys. No, don't listen to them that I was helping the Nazis make movies and stuff. It's the other thing is he didn't bring up is that the rumor was at the time, this is an extra trivia, I'll get to you, Black Sea, I'm glad you're Kevin James wasn't there, but he should have been. I'll just cheers to you before I tell it. This is a trivia fact. Cheers to you, Black Sea. Kevin James didn't win, but Adam Sandler was there, and so I guess in a way Kevin James, they probably brought Kevin James in as an advisor. Cheers to you, Black Sea. Thank you. At a friend's place night, I hope Kevin James won. The other rumor, this is a rumor, and it's been since debunked, but since we gave a shout out to an original Nazi last night, I'll degrade him more. The rumor was that Rin Tin Tin had won that award, and they realized that Rin Tin Tin had won over Emil Jennings, and they actually were like, no, we can't let Rin Tin Tin win the first Oscar. It'll make us look stupid. So they gave it to Emil Jennings instead. No one's been able, a lot of people said that's a rumor. I don't know, but since we're praising this guy, I'll just say, like, the dude won a consolation prize because they didn't want a dog to win. I'm just going to make that, if we're just going to, like, not look up, it's on his Wikipedia page, by the way. It was not hidden. But I did not, oh my God, Ryan. I did not see that. Anyway, that was good, right? Oh, I thought I said like to the. Anyway, Yeah, Rin Tin Tin did not win an Oscar, but because they wouldn't let him. He actually wins every year, but they always have to like, all right, let's just not. That would be funny. All right. Um, do we have? We'll just go through the winners. The big, I think, I noticed with supporting, as we saw with the supporting. It's okay. Sorry. Well, what we saw with the acting awards was that usually they have the like. So if you win Best Actor, you give Best Supporting. Like if you win Best Supporting Actor, you give out Best Supporting Actress. Like you do the reverse gender. And this year they didn't do that, which I thought didn't work in some cases because like Robert Downey Jr. came out and then give it to Kieran Culkin, who like I've always thought he sort of gives a Robert Downey Jr. vibe. Hello Alex Giraffe. Hello everybody. Sorry, Chan talks more movies. Bloxy, Ryan, Kyle Garrison, the Wessinator. Where was I? Oh, yeah, he sort of reminds me. In fact, I've long thought, and I know a lot of critics on YouTube do this, and I'm not gonna do this, but normally. But I honestly like let's be real. Kieran Culkin feels like he's gonna be in a Marvel movie, right? I mean, that's just like he feels like too perfect to not like. I never go. They're gonna Marvel's thinking about, and I have no role specifically for this guy, but like I do sort of like, especially with Robert Downey Jr. doing it, I was like, I don't know. I thought that didn't play as well. Zoe Saldana, I know Amelia Perez got 2 awards. She was probably the one more people were okay with. I also think, she's made a lot of people a lot of money, and I've noticed the best supporting category tends to go to a movie star who has made Hollywood a lot of money, and that Brad Pitt, Robert Downey Jr. It seems to have happened a lot lately, and I think she has been undervalued by Hollywood. I don't know why she isn't in more stuff, but I think it's cool that she won. It was a nice speech. I think she's the first Dominican actress to win. That's what I heard. I'm not 100% on that, but I think it's cool. She's the first member of the movie Crossroads to win an Oscar. But she also, Disney makes how many, she's one of the highest grossing actresses of all time, I think, because of the Avengers and the Avatars and stuff. So but I hope she does more stuff that isn't where she's green and blue. I didn't love her in Amelia Perez. I think she was better than like Selena Gomez. She might have been the best thing in it, but yeah, she tried to answer about Amelia Perez, but I think I don't think you can really explain the movie. I think it's just like that was her shot, but in my mind, like again, like I really don't like all the weird shit I've read about, particularly Nora, which I'll talk about, that have all bubbled up, and it's like it seems like a lot of nonsense, and some of it is real, but some of it is like a controversy we're hearing about again. Cool. But she, I sort of think it's because like Hollywood's like, look, we need you in 3 more Avatars, so let's just like, let's give you the Oscar. I don't know, but that's just my own feeling on it. As for the other technical stuff, there wasn't too many surprises, to be honest. Best visual effects, I kind of wanted I did want Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, because none of those have won. I think Alien Romulus should have been taken out of that, because it is not. It's fine, Alex Giraffe. Thank you for being here for a little bit. It with that whole thing with recreating the guy, I thought that shouldn't have been nominated. But Dune Part 2, Dune had to win something. I'll just talk about Anora. Let me do all the non-Anora ones. We can just talk about Anora. Is that cool? Well, that's what I'm doing. So, best costume design, we had the first black man to win, Paul Tazewell, I believe. I'm fine with best It's best costume design, I believe. I'm fine with that one winning. I like the two. Was it just two Wicked wins for best production design, best costume design, I believe. I thought those were cool wins. It's I thought it was very much a like thing is like I'm cool with uh when Hollywood gets together and is like, let's make a big production movie winning technical stuff, because it does feel like hey, we're all in this together, we're trying our best kind of thing. And I felt that way, and I've seen that movie twice because of my daughter, so I felt like those were fine. I didn't want it to win, like, well, it wasn't nominated for best cinematography, probably because of that color grading. um uh but I was happy for that costume design one, as well as the production design win. And the Dune Part 2 and sound thing, I think Wild Robot was the most interesting of the sound nominees, to be honest, not just because it was animation, because it was a much more interesting. I thought Flow should have been nominated. I mean, after seeing Flow should have been in there over Amelia Perez, especially Wicked. It was such a big thing, of course, but Flow should have been in Best Sound. But Dune Part 2, fine. They had to make a lot of new sounds there. Best makeup was awesome for The Substance, because I saw that movie, and that's a very iconic makeup job, and hair. I like when a film wins when they do something like truly original that everyone's talking about, and like Conan even made fun of it in that intro, which that I didn't love that part, because we had to like shield the kids, because it was kind of a little scary, but it was funny, but it was it was a little scary there. But yeah, best makeup. I'm happy for The Substance. I thought that was probably one of the most well deserved ones. I haven't seen The Brutalist. I would like to. But I'm fine with that winning best cinematography from the limited amount I've seen. Best music. Well, let me say best score again. I guess I haven't heard any of the score of The Brutalist, so but I think most people thought it would win. Best musical song going to Amelia Perez. I like that. First of all, the director found a way to get an Oscar for best song, which I was like, all right, cool. Found a way to get in there. Fine. But then they started like singing, and they were generally like obnoxious. And I was like, wow, this movie really is the fucking worst. Like you guys couldn't help yourselves. I mean, I kind of thought it would be Diane Warren, because Amelia Perez really fell off a cliff in terms of the awards. I mean, I think what happened to Best International Feature is because, I think not just because of the tweets controversy. I think it was that people started to watch the movie and they realized it's horrible, but also the tweets thing didn't help, because it was like, if the tweets thing only hurt her, but I think it's like, she sucks. Oh, by the way, this movie also sucks. So, but they're singing, and it was really cringy. Probably the cringiest moment of the whole night, really. The best shorts, I don't have much to say other than I'm very shocked that the one short I could review won. I'm Not a Robot. I was surprised. It seemed like the least notable, but again, I couldn't see them. They weren't available, and it sort of doesn't work for me to go to the presentation thing, because it's like a week before, and to be on, like, not to be too inside baseball or inside YouTube, but when I make them separate, people do watch them years later, and it doesn't work for me to just do a big thing on it. It would be better if I made a bunch of short ones. So I actually am hindered by it. Honestly, and I would do all the animated ones, and I would do a fair amount of the live action, and even just documentary ones if I could. Maybe I should have tried. I think some more of the documentary ones were available than I tried to. But anyway, it's cool that I'm Not a Robot won. I don't have much to say about best animated short film, but good for them. Or best documentary short. But best documentary, let's talk about that. No Other Land. This is notable because it is about Israel and Palestine, and it had both Israeli and Palestine filmmakers involved, but it doesn't have a distributor. So a lot of you can't see it, basically, right now. But it is presently in New York. It's at Film Forum. I think a few Alamo locations are playing it. I would look into it. If your area has like a film society or an art theater and you hear about it, I'm surprised that no distributor would pick it. Now there's one best documentary. I mean, it was the best speech. Let's be real. It was the best speech. but it stinks that it doesn't have a distributor. I kind of want to see it. I'm not sure. I don't know. It depends, but I would like to see that movie. But it's I don't know when it's going to be on streaming because it doesn't have a distributor, and it seems like they're just organizing screenings where they can. So if you, in all seriousness, if you live somewhere with a film society or an independent art theater, seems like it's going that route presently. I don't know how to look that up. Maybe look into it. But I did find it in New York. It's playing at Film Forum. I know it played at the Lincoln Center, not the theater, but the not the AMC, but there's another one. It has played in places, but it's playing sort of in an unofficial way. So if you want to see No Other Land, try to do it because you are supporting the filmmakers. But there's no other way to do it. I don't know when it's going on streaming. If I hear anything about more of a release, I will talk about it. I had heard it was having troubles. I'm not as dialed into the documentary feature thing, although I do want to see that Earl Morris, Charles Manson thing. It's unfortunate that it's being treated the way it is because it won Best Documentary. Is fairly prestigious. So, Best International Feature was I'm Still Here. I think a lot of people thought this was Amelia Perez to lose. I think when Amelia Perez, I really think a lot of people have said, well, if you're at a festival, it was great. I'm like, so you're telling me you went to a festival and you have like shit taste like that? Anyway, I saw that movie. It's not good. I don't like it. And I don't get why people are like, no, but before the controversy, it was better. I'm like, was it? I don't think so. I think it sucks. I think it's a bad movie. But it lost to I'm Still Here. I know I'm Still Here had a lot of support behind it because it is by a Brazilian filmmaker. He did Central Station. He's very well regarded. And he's done a lot of stuff from like, American stuff. He did Bicycle Dream Diaries. He did On the Road. So he's a fairly big, not the book, the movie, fairly big director. So I do think he had a chance, but I think Amelia Perez getting all those nominations. I heard someone say a quote that was like, the Academy gives out nominations for movies they've seen, but winners to films they love. So I don't know, but I also think more people thought about Amelia Perez, possibly. It did become a cinephile obsession to have it lose because people just, myself included, did not want it to win. Best Writing Adapted Screenplay went to Conclave. The writing ones were really up in the air. I think it was really between, again, Amelia Perez and that. And it when that fell, I think Conclave won. I've heard a lot of people say, and I will correct this, the kind of preferential ranked choice voting thing, that is only for Best Picture. That is not true in any other category. So all these like people who are like, well, they probably wrote 5 for Nickel Boys. I'm like, I mean, they could have, but I don't know why, because that's not what you're supposed to do. So, all right, let's see the non-Anora ones. Adrian Brody, fine. It was, I think, one of the second biggest stretch between Best Actor wins. I thought it was okay. Speech, again, didn't have a big problem with it. To be honest with you, I think Timothy, it probably would have been a little better, or Coleman Domingo, or Ralph Fiennes. The only one I didn't think would win it all was Sebastian Stan, but I think he, like, in all seriousness, nobody talked about him as much as they're talking about him this year, and he played this year very smartly with not getting on actors, worked out for him. He was smart, but Adrian Brody won. I think it was the biggest thing, the Brutalist one, so we'll see. I will review that movie. I need to figure that one out. So, Anora. I mean, it wasn't, like, amazing. I just wasn't, like, some of the I don't know. I'm not as reactionary as a lot of people, so I think some of that, I'm like, I think all these speeches were dumb. How about that? Like, other than the Best Documentary, I thought, I think the others were kind of dumb. Like, that's why I never get obsessed with category fraud. It's just not, I will, no, but, Anyway, I did think the cutting off, like they cut off certain sound people and they cut off. I was like, I do agree with people who are like, you're gonna have the dumb Bond tribute. Like, don't cut people off. Like, just like you're already running long. Like, let everybody say what they're gonna say. But all right, so Anora, Sean Baker won more Oscars than anyone has ever for a single film. He tied Walt Disney, who won the most in a single category in the 50s for three different shorts and a documentary, all of which I'm sure he directed. But Sean Baker won for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Screenplay Original, and Best Editing. Bong Joon-ho also did four, but one was international feature, which technically goes to the country. And I think there's other ones sort of like that. But Cameron only won three. I forget how many Spielberg won for Schindler's List. I know he won at least two. But, Austin says, you think Adrian will have another worst post-Oscar and end up making movie 44? I do think he will have... I'm curious what will happen to him. I think the problem is he's a very specific actor. And I don't think he plugs into the blockbuster thing well. Like, can you imagine him in an action movie? Like, Nicolas Cage became an action star post his Oscar win. I just don't see that for him. So, unless he gets a very specific director. So it's like, I think he's kind of stuck doing this, like, weird dramatic stuff. And that's not a profitable thing. So he has to go do shit like that. So I actually sort of think it will happen. But cheers to you, Austin. Zane Powers, worst instance of people mad at category fraud. Zoe Saldana is a lead. Kieran Culkin is a lead. I've heard it for so many of them. But, but Sinram, did Predators work out? I love Splice, but let's be real, that didn't make a lot of money. Anyway, cheers to you, Zane Powers. I guess King Kong was as close as it ever got. But hey, maybe a Wes Anderson movie will make $10 million more because of this, or he'll just charge Wes Anderson $10 million more. That's probably honestly what happened. No, I liked Predators. I like Splice. I like him. I'm just saying, will he be in another shit movie in a couple years? Most likely. Just don't let him host SNL again, because. But yeah, Sean Baker winning. I mean, he's a great filmmaker. I'm happy for him. I think it is amazing that a movie like Anora. I really like Anora. It's not my favorite of his at all, but it's still a good movie. Like I think he should have been nominated for other stuff, frankly, for Florida Project and Tangerine, but he wasn't. And it is pretty wild he won so much. I do think part of it is Emilio Perez fell. I think the other thing is, like, you look at Best Director. I think The Brutalist is really long and arty, and Anora, you can kind of, despite the sex and the cursing, can get in there. I also thought, so this is the second American film that won Palme d'Or. And, I do want to talk, I found something interesting about this. So Anora won the Palme d'Or and Best Picture. It's the second American film to do it and third film overall. Apparently The Lost Weekend also sort of did this, but not really, because it wasn't the Palme d'Or then, but it's super confusing. I'm just like, don't bring it. It won a French award and won Best Picture. I'm fine with that, but just, it didn't technically win the Palme d'Or. So only three that have done it are Marty, Anora, and Parasite. And two American films have won. And I noticed Anora and Marty have a lot of similarities. They're both about, both set in New York, both about working class people in the outer boroughs. Outer boroughs, I guess, are usually like not Manhattan, because that's in the Bronx. Anora takes place mainly in Brooklyn, but I guess her strip club's in Manhattan, right? Yeah, there are certain similarities. I think they're very different films, but I really like Marty. I think it's a great movie, but it's super insane that we had another one. It does show that the Academy has really gone to the more international thing. The Mikey Madison thing, I think, shocked people, although if we're being real, we knew it was between Demi Moore and Mikey Madison. I know there was some Fernando Torres love. The other one, I don't know about Cynthia Erivo and Carlos Sofia Garcon, I don't think that is uh, gonna. I didn't see those two happening, but Mikey Madison, I thought it was a great performance. I'm a little. I thought the speech was fine. I was a little. I didn't love how suddenly all these people online were like, "Oh well, she won because people thought she was hot," and everyone voted with their dick. I saw the tweets like that, and then people reacting to those tweets, and it was like really stupid. And I was like, "Where are we getting this from? Like this wasn't was this in the blind ballot thing? Like you guys came up with this narrative about her? Like it was felt really shitty. It's like let her have her moment. We don't need to like." Oh, Demi didn't win. Demi didn't win because she's in a weird horror movie. Like it getting nominated was the triumph. Like I thought it'd been cool for Demi to win too, but like the substance like is not a movie for everyone, and Honora more so is, and it's like come on, we don't need to like make up things. Obviously, like Mikey Madison winning over Demi Moore is very perfect considering what the substance is, but I just found it like can we just I don't know, I found it really stupid, and I don't know, I wasn't really happy with film Twitter this past post Oscars. I thought that was really embarrassing, to be honest with you, because one, it was a dumb controversy, and then people had to react to it and give it more life, which I was like, why are we doing this? Like, come on, can't we just talk about how Emil Jennings is the Nazi? That's such an easy one. Like that's an easy, it's right there. Like just use that one. That's a real one. But no. Whatever. I think Honora is a good movie. Apparently this is the first time every film that won in a major category, it was independently funded, which is pretty amazing. As well as, yeah, it's like the first time that's ever happened. I don't think we've ever seen that. And I think it does show like, as much as the Oscars wanted to change to representing more Hollywood movies, they've actually gone in like a different direction, which I'm sort of like, I wish they had acknowledged more Hollywood stuff. I don't know if this was the year for that, but you know, we'll see. I did like Sean Baker shouting at Quentin Tarantino for casting Mikey Madison Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I like what he said about theaters. I saw someone in the chat saying that was sort of cringe. I'm okay with that. But I think some of his theatrical window 90 days thing, I'm like, sure, I don't know about that. Every film playing for 90 days, but I think theaters aren't over, but I'm okay with him promoting the theatrical experience. But I will say, if people want the movies to play longer, I've noticed a lot of them don't promote them that long. So if you agree with the 90-day thing, try to promote it for 90 days. That's, you know, like, let's work together on this. That's my only issue there. It's not the theaters are really struggling, and he admitted that in front of an independent theater owner, Quentin Tarantino. So, Ratboy Mickey says, Shape of Water winning was my last Oscar enjoyment. That was a good one. I like that Del Toro. Man, Del Toro has a lot of Oscars, but good for him. Cheers to you, Ratboy Mickey. Let me get the rest of this. Wait, I gotta actually make sure I'm in the shot. Okay, we're in the shot here. Let's see if we can finish this. I do have other energy drinks if we need it. But yeah, I've seen every Sean Baker controversy come up since then. That he's following all these conservative things on Twitter. I don't know, like, he's never commented on it, and I don't know why he is following them. That they're not supporting sex workers as much as they should, which I'm like, or do we know to me it's like, okay, maybe they're being performative, but like, I mean, that I'm sort of a little more for, but the following thing, I saw a lot of tweets about that, and I'm just like, didn't we go through that in the fall? I'm a little not sure about that. The only one I will give some credence to is there's one that he sort of screwed over the kind of crew on Honora by making them do non-union, which would have affected their health care. And then IATSE got mad at him and made him basically make it a union shoot for IATSE. It was a union shoot for SAG and the DGA and all the other ones, but not for the crew members. Supposedly he threw a fit. I'm a little, if that is true, I haven't seen too much dispute on that one. That's the only one I would actually dislike him a bit for. But I will remind people that the thing is that like I don't know. We haven't seen him say any conservative stuff. I don't know like his purpose, like if that's a research thing, if he likes to just have different views on stuff. I don't agree with the like let's go through who everyone's following and what does it say about them thing, because there's so many different reasons and we don't really know. It's just, I don't know. If he starts doing conservative stuff, I will say fuck that guy. But yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I'm gonna say that this is that I see EDM the thing about like Anora wins more Oscars than The Godfather, Rocky, 12 Years a Slave, Casablanca. Look, Citizen Kane I believe only has one Oscar. First off, I don't really agree with that kind of stuff because it's really year dependent and competition dependent, and it's not it doesn't really work as well with like this equals that equals this is taking away from that, this is being demoted. It's not that clear, and The Godfather came out in the 70s, and there's like a lot of good movies then, so I think that's probably why. I mean, Spielberg didn't get nominated for Jaws for Best Director, and when we talk about what a Best Director is, we talk about him directing Jaws. So it's not a great system, in my mind. I don't think it often picks. I think Anora is, has a chance of moving on, or at least being part of a great narrative of film and stuff. But like, if you're being real, you would have done I Saw the TV Glow and The People's Joker and not had Amelia Perez. I mean, that was really, if we're talking about like how they fucked up, like this was the trans film year and you didn't do it. And if you want to talk about movies that love movies, Hundreds of Beavers was that movie, and you didn't nominate that either. So to me, like, it's always flawed. It always doesn't work. And acting, it is crazy it won more than those others. But I think it's like, it was a pretty good movie. But also whatever. Do I have anything else to say? I saw that there's a Jaws exhibition. I would love to go to that. I don't think I'm going to go to LA this year, but we'll see. But yeah, the Jaws exposition, because it is Jaws' big anniversary year. Could I do a Jaws read this year? It's possible. Yeah, they did a John Waters exhibit and a Jaws exhibit. It feels like they're appealing to me. Anyway, I don't think there's anything more. If there's anything else you want me to talk about the Oscars, let me know in the chat or super chat, any of that. But I thought it was a good Oscars. I like that it started early. I was in bed by 11:30, which has never happened ever for the Oscars. That my kids got to watch it. That was fine, but I do think I don't think it covered the film. If you're asking me right now, and I thought this after, I did not think it covered the film year well, and I rarely do think it did that. And I think because this year, you did Flow, and they did a good job, better than most. But I do think, like, where was Furiosa? Where was those movies I mentioned earlier? It's not talking about the film year. It's talking about the selected film. And I think that's the main thing it needs to do. So, but Conan, I would love for him to host again. I thought he did a great job. I didn't think the Harry Met Sally thing worked because, again, like, I saw them reunited for a mayonnaise commercial at the Super Bowl. So, I've always thought, like, just get Christopher Lloyd and Michael J. Fox to do Best Picture. Like, people would freak out. Or get something like that. Or, like, get Robin Wright and Cary Elwes to do it. Or, like, get, one of the big 80s movies. It's been long enough. 80s, 70s movies. Get something like that. But, yeah, Challenger should have been in Best Score. That's embarrassing. Thank you for bringing up Wes and Eric. Anyway, I didn't look at, like, every major film of the year. I just sort of threw out some. But, you know, we'll see. All right, I would like to end this around 12:30, maybe before. But we will talk about other stuff because I don't think there'll be another stream this week. It'll just be next week, probably. Sorry, I'm going to get out a calendar. Maybe the 12th or 13th. So I do want to cover a few things that are not Oscar related, and we will talk about Greg the Bunny. Don't worry. I will go on to and explain Sean Baker's involvement, which is not as clear cut as you might think it is, believe it or not. Not controversially, he's admitted this, but oh yeah, Harrison Ford was supposed to do it, and he had to call it because he got shingles. That's right. I was like, there's a Red Hulk joke in there somewhere. Sorry. All right. Oh, and the Disney stuff. I want to talk about that as well. Okay. So, first off, the Shrek 5 redesign. I want to bring up this because I have some thoughts, actually. Because I was among those who didn't like it. But I want to explain this exactly. Because here's the thing. I've already answered your... I actually didn't read it. So I don't know, but we'll see. So here's the thing with the Shrek 5 redesign. I watch, like, Me TV Tunes. I think I talk about that a lot. I actually, on Saturday night, I finished editing stuff. And then I watched Felix the Cats from over the years, because I love Felix the Cat. In fact, I need to do a Felix the Cat segment on Movie Crap at some point, because he's one of my favorite characters. I've never made a video on him. I don't know why. But I watched various designs, and I thought to myself, later, that didn't bother me. And we watch Woody Woodpecker. My kids never get upset that, like, Woody looks different in the 40s, and then looks different in the 90s, because they like the 90s one, or something like that. And I was like, why is this one such a problem, basically? And here's why, I think. One is that's our introduction to it. And of course there's going to be a reaction. Because when you hear Shrek and you know they're trying to use the brand again, you expect it to sort of look the same. The other thing is, when you watch an old Woody Woodpecker or Felix the Cat or whatever, you see the other things designed. You understand the context, correct? The context of the story, the context of the animation, the context of the kind of film it is. None of that we got, which I think is a failure marketing-wise, not design-wise, but marketing-wise. Is it a bad design? I sort of think so, because it doesn't really look like Shrek, and he's very iconic. Like, I see Mickey Mouse, like when the Paul Rudish Mickey Mouse came out, I didn't hear anyone getting upset about that. And in fact, like, redesigns usually don't get this kind of blowback. And I think it's because, like, he's very iconic. I expected him to not look exactly the same. But, like, you needed to do a better job setting that up. And just having him like that was not great. I would like to know the context. I really don't want it to be... What my main concern is if it's just a family story and not a fairy tale parody at the same time. And like I've said, the thing that makes a Shrek movie better is Shrek has to not want to take responsibility reluctantly. And like, he doesn't want to, he doesn't really want a girlfriend. He ends up with Fiona. He doesn't want to be a part of Fiona's family, but then he is. Like, the fourth one sort of did that with the responsibility stuff. But it's like, you have to have that. And the way they introduced the design, and it did feel off to me. I understand designs change, and that's not what I'm upset about. I just feel like you didn't explain the context, because I was like watching all these different versions of Felix the Cat, and a lot of people do watch, like, if you watch Me TV Tunes or watch a block of cartoons, you'll see different designs of people, and people don't get upset. And I think the thing that no one's bringing up is like, well, okay, but if people are getting upset, how did this happen? And it happened because you're not fully understand it. Like, if you show a shot of, this is what Shrek 5 is about, here's what it is, and this is Shrek, and he's interacting with, the gingerbread man or whatever the fuck. Like, you just do that. But it's also like, you're doing this based on familiarity, and you picked a design that isn't familiar. So I think it's like, you didn't artistically, marketing wise and all that, it didn't like convey the message I think it should have. You could have said, this is a new Shrek, but it didn't. It's like, this is Shrek. And people are like, that's not Shrek. That's the problem. I sort of thought it looked a little too normal and didn't look unique enough. And I did not expect a 2001 design again, but I expected it to be similar. But like, there are like Moana 2 had a redesign. I didn't. Do you see anything negative about that? And I think it's like you didn't need to go so far. So, I just think it's like when I see, to me, this controversy is about a teaser trailer that wasn't great. When I see the movie and I have the full context, and by the way, they keep working on stuff up until the movie comes out. The trailers are like as finished as they are at that time. It'll probably look better in the movie, which I don't know why they put out this teaser now. I think it was a dumb move. I think they should have waited till Bad Guys 2. I thought that would have been a better move than this. But I do get why it had a different... I get that DreamWorks is changing. I get all that. That's not my problem. My problem is I thought you set up the context. You set up the kind of studio. If you see everything around and all the characters and they're all moving, not just like looking in a mirror. Because I didn't hear any problems with Fiona. The donkey just was okay. But like I think they did. They kind of just didn't present it very well is my issue. But I'm... You know what? I want to see the actual movie in the actual context. I don't get... I don't know. Maybe they wanted us all to get our thing out. And like, why is Zendaya one of their kid? Like, I don't... And where are the other kids? Like, did they eat the other Ord kids? Like, they only have one kid now? And people keep saying she's trans? I don't understand that. Like, I'm lost on all of it. But it wasn't a great teaser. I really hope it's not just a family story about the daughter with no fairy tale stuff. That you've ruined Shrek then. Like, that's not Shrek, to be honest with you. But I don't know. We'll see what the deal is fully, but I just think the context should have been explained better. Because in all honesty, most people who watch like a lot of cartoons do see different designs all the time. It's not just nostalgia. I think it's that people were generally surprised at how radical that was. I don't think the Puss in Boots sang, but say the line, what? You don't know donkey about Shrek. Thank you. There we go. Oh, I should have just said I didn't do it. There we go. I should have just led with that. Oh well. Choose to you, Austin. Alright, look, I get the whole like Last Wish thing. I expected the animation to be better. I'm just saying, explain it better. That's all. Explain your design. Explain your choices. Why did you do it? Why is the story that way? You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's a crazy thing to ask. Because you gotta have context. Like, I was watching this Felix the Cat from the Van Buren studio, and he's very different, and he's underwater, and it's like a different vibe. I don't like it as much as silent stuff, but I understood it's not the silent stuff. And you don't get that with that teaser. So I think it's like, if you're gonna do a redesign, do it with a trailer that explains the story. Don't just go, here's the redesign. Of course everyone's gonna go, no, fuck you. So, alright. We're going to do Kathleen Kennedy, then we'll do Disney Animation, break, Greg the Money, questions. Deal? Okay. So the Kathleen Kennedy thing. Here's my view on this. One, I'll talk about Kathleen Kennedy. I know everyone's super weird about her and gets super strange because she asked for women to be in things, and that's the worst thing. No, thank you, Ryan. You made good points. Sorry, I didn't get to. Sorry, there's a lot of big things to talk about tonight, so it's a little confusing. Sorry, but Ryan was making some good points there. So Kathleen Kennedy, I have no issues with her bringing in more female women for Star Wars, more minorities, like different directors, all that stuff. My main thing I never particularly loved about her is basically what she would do is pick the biggest director of the week and be like, here you go, here's a Star Wars movie. And it felt like the laziest producer thing I'd ever seen in Hollywood. Like, I don't think Feige is as good as he used to be at picking directors either, but there's some creativity there, and it feels like she just went for like other than Rian Johnson, went for the biggest people imaginable. And from my understanding, Rian Johnson was a J.J. Abrams idea. But like from the Gareth Edwards thing to the Phil Lord and Chris Miller thing and all that, just she was never. They were never great at picking directors. Now some of it is Disney, and she kind of had to do with what Disney wanted. But I know she could basically go to whoever she wanted, but I wish she had been a little more creative about her choices, and it never felt. And actually, people I know who weren't necessarily against her, actually, who were more industry connected, actually very much agreed with me that she was never very good at picking directors. The other thing is, like, she was Spielberg's producer. That's how she got the job. Lucas picked her. Disney didn't pick her, despite what Midnight's Edge or, the critical dumbass or whatever says. Lucas picked her. Now Lucas picked her to deal with Disney, but Disney did not pick her. And she is I think the second most nominated producer of all time. So, and Abrams was like her pet project too. So Abrams feels like a lazy choice, but she'd been watching his career for a long time, ever since she hired him to restore those Spielberg films with Matt Reeves. So she did develop people and stuff like that. I don't think she was the right person to pick directors, and I think I hope they get a better person later. But anyway, I don't hate her, actually. I think, like, she had a tough job, and she has to deal with Disney and Lucas, and, like, that's, like, not an easy job, and she might have picked. I would actually like to hear her talk about her director choices and why she did it. It might not have been her choice. But also the other problem was, it's like, you're the producer for Steven Spielberg, and from my understanding, she kind of expected every director to act like Steven Spielberg, which is, like, not, okay, I think that might have been sort of a problem there. We've known for a while she's the possibility of her retiring or leaving. She clarified that she's not retiring, but also is like, well, I am going to leave Lucasfilm, which I was like, okay, it sounds like the retire thing is like, yeah, I get it, but at the same time, like, the headline is you're leaving, and you still admit that. I was surprised by the end of the year thing. Most people thought she was going to leave the Mandalorian thing, and I know she's attached to the Sean Levy thing. I kind of feel like after those she might leave. It makes a little more sense. But yeah, George Lucas is one of Disney's biggest stockholders. That is correct. People forget that too. But I don't know. It sounds like she is making a plan to leave from most of what we hear, and even in the interview, it seems like most people think Filoni will be it. A lot of people think it'll be much like the DC thing, where you get James Gunn, and then you get an executive type, and it'll probably be Filoni and like I've heard a lot of executives who aren't names and won't excite you, and that's probably what's going to happen. But now Disney will have like total. I mean, they had total control, but now they have someone that they appointed. So anyone acting like, oh, it's going to be so much better now that she's gone, if Disney picks somebody who they, can't push around, which I don't think they would do. I think they're going to hire someone they can push around, and Filoni is that person. So if you're thinking this will get so much better when she's gone, probably won't. And no, I don't see that happening. It's going to be worse, and Disney's going to run things. Everything you think that anyone who hates her and all that stuff, who thinks this will be better without her, probably won't. Probably is going to be worse, bud. I'm sorry, that's how it's going to go. Disney will have more control over Star Wars. If you hate how Disney does Star Wars, it's going to be worse. So, good for you. Smart move, fucking idiots. All right, So Disney announced today that they are not doing any more Disney Animation, which is the main studio there, is no longer developing content for Disney Plus, and the Tiana show is gone. I don't like the Tiana thing because it feels like they've and even in books they've sort of done some follow-ups, but it's like, I don't know why. I don't understand their thing with Princess and the Frog. Just like, why couldn't you make a show or turn it into a sequel movie or something? But it sounds like they're backing away from making content for Disney Plus, which sort of to me feels like what's the point? Like, what are you guys doing? Like, you make a movie every couple of years, and like largely they've been pretty disappointing lately. So I wish they had. Now I understand they've like Toon Disney and other different Disney animation studios, and I'm sure making stuff like the preschool stuff and stuff. This is just the main brand that started with Snow White to now. I do think they could have done a lot better, but it feels like, you have the Bayou Adventure, you're pushing Tiana all the time. It would have been a nice little thing to like do and also develop directors and all this stuff, but like, it felt like a real shitty thing of like, oh, the Tiana thing isn't happening. We still use her to sell everything from like, I saw at the mall, Bath and Body Works. She's one of the princesses, and they mainly do it, for marketing sake to have their one sort of black princess, but like, do more with that. Come on, either make another black princess or do more of Tiana. Instead, they're basically like, what if we do nothing? And that's Disney for you. I found it disappointing. I think there's a lot of more riskier projects they could have done. They could have done a follow-up to Fantasia, which Disney wanted to do when he made Fantasia, is like take out segments and put new ones in every year or something like that. You could have done that with Disney Plus. There's a lot of creative things you could do artistically, but as they're losing, and Win or Lose, I've noticed there's so little talk about, but well, you know what the problem with Win or Lose is, and I know this is like a side tangent, is that, and I've heard people say this about streaming shows, you can't, like with streaming shows, you sort of have to have a reaction for the first couple episodes, and then by the time the show ends, no one's talking about it. So you make a review, that narrative isn't going to work as well. And Win or Lose, you can't really watch a couple episodes because of this weird Rashomon thing. So like, I do think it's getting under talked about because it's sort of, in a sense, not reviewable, because you can't, you don't feel like you know the whole show after a couple episodes, which is cool. I think it's a good idea. But to me, it was like, I didn't even feel like, I wasn't sure how to make a quick reaction. I might watch all of it, but I've noticed it's getting under talked about because, like, how do you do that? And maybe when it's over. But it I don't know. I think Disney could have done better with Disney Animation and Disney Plus. But they've just given up, and it feels like Disney continues to just go, let's just shelve it. And one of my biggest problems with streaming is they do not have to, I don't think they're bringing back hand-drawn animation. I think that's just lip service. That's bullshit. So, anyway, it's really unfortunate. The only other thing I'll say is I thought the Razzies were dumb, but Coppola, the way he accepted, at least on Instagram, was very classy, and I think he deserves a lot of credit for. He always talks about being a risky director, and there's a lot of people who say that, but I do feel like he put his money where his mouth was and admitted, like, hey, this is what happens when you're risky. Sometimes you have to accept the Razzie, and I thought that was cool of him. Most of the other Razzie things were dumb. It's just like the same thing over and over again. So, whatever. All right, I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to do... Oh, first off, I want to say obits RIP to both Gene Hackman, who is a real titan of movies, and French Connection, Royal Tenenbaums. I knew him first as Lex Luthor. I think he might still be the best Lex Luthor portrayal, even though he doesn't look how I view Lex Luthor, but he does such a good job, him and Ned Beatty. There's so many movies he's been in. The Conversation. It's hard to bring... I've heard not as much talk about Scarecrow as I thought I did, but real titan and a real amazing actor. As well as Michelle Trachtenberg. I definitely grew up with her from Buffy or Harriet the Spy to Buffy to so many other projects. It's very sad. I kind of was hoping with the new one she'd get a bit of a comeback, but that didn't happen. And I was sad to see her and Tony Todd did not get in the In Memoriam. Tony Todd, I get, like, that was a while ago, and maybe you forgot, but Michelle Trachtenberg, like, that was, like, that week, guys. Like, you could have just, like, done it real quick. Like, I don't know. Whatever. I'm just surprised. Like, that seems a very easy one. Anyway, I'm going to take a break, Then we will talk about Greg the Money. Then we'll do questions, and then hopefully, I think we'll end 12:30-ish, and that'll be it. So I'll be. Hold on. I will be. I think this is a good Oscars thing. I don't know. It's like when there aren't the controversies. Oh wait, that's not the wrong. Sorry. No, that's okay. I'm gonna play the music. I need to come up with hold music for when we take a break. Anyway, I'll be right back, and then we'll talk about Greg the Bunny and Sean Baker and all that. Enjoy the song. You can listen to it, all 43 seconds of it. All right. I am back. That is not a music from the Central. It's sort of a remix of the Aqua Teen theme that I did for. I don't know why I did that, but I did it, and that's why. I don't know. I don't. I just sort of made it. I think it was going to be for something, and it didn't quite happen, as I recall. But I liked it. So okay, let's get back. Hey, it's me. I'm back. All right. Before we finish, I'll remind you we can. I think we can. Sorry. If we could finish with this much, I'd like to finish this tonight. So if you have a super chat, we have not that much time left to be able to finish this. And it would be appreciated, and it would keep me awake. Those are all good things. All right. Let's talk about. This is sort of two things, but it is one segment. It'll be one video later, probably soon, since Sean Baker's trending, I guess. Anyway, if anyone's here for TikTok, notice the song I picked for the TikTok story. I was proud of that. All right. So, hold on. Let me look. Hold on. Let me have all this ready. I have my notes, but I wanted to have. Okay. So, what's the deal with Sean. Oh, are you excited for White Chicks too? I have heard they're considering that, and cheers to you. I think I would review White Chicks if they do White Chicks too. I plan on doing Scary Movie, the first one, when they do the new one. So if they do sequels, I'll maybe not Little Man, but yeah. Anyway, cheers to you, Zane Powers. Thank you very much. All right, so if you've heard of Sean Baker and how I first heard of him, other than I think I first really heard of him with Tangerine, and I had heard, oh, he was part of Greg the Bunny, and I remembered Greg the Bunny when it was on Fox, and then later on IFC. But good night, Dan. Probably next week, but thank you for being here, man. You have a good night. So, Greg the Bunny, or yeah, you probably heard of Sean Baker being involved in Greg the Bunny. When I first heard of him at Tangerine, I understood that was his other credit. I never really looked into it. I feel like I listened to a podcast with him about that, but I guess I forgot the whole deal. So basically, he created Greg the Bunny with his two friends, Spencer Chenoy and Dan Milano. It seems like they were a little more involved in it, and Sean Baker, and all three of them made it for the Manhattan Neighborhood Network, which is a Manhattan public access thing. It's only available in Manhattan. If you didn't know how the public access thing in New York works, it's basically you have the Manhattan one, a Queens one, a Brooklyn one. I believe there's a Bronx one and a Staten Island. Each borough has its own public access. Why we did that, I have no clue, but that's what we did for. I don't know why we did that, but that's what we did. This was on the Manhattan Neighborhood Network, and it was on a public access show called Junk Tape, and ended up having a pretty long, successful life. Greg the Money was first a public access show, then introed things on IFC, then became was introing movies on IFC, became a Fox show, which didn't last very long. And Sean Baker isn't really credited very much in, which I'll get to why. Then on IFC, and then Warren the Ape had his own spin-off in the 2010s on MTV and MTV2. I'm not going to talk about Warren the Ape, but when Sean Baker makes another movie, I will talk about Warren the Ape. I figure let's just talk about two versions of Greg the Bunny. Now, Greg the Bunny did the IFC original thing, but when it started the Fox show in 2002, he is not credited as a creator. It's actually his two friends, Spencer Chenoy and Dan Milano, and then Stephen Levitan, who's mostly known for things like Just Shoot Me and Modern Family. That kind of surprised me because I thought Sean Baker was the creator of Greg the Bunny, and I was super confused, like, what's going on? So at the very end of the credits of the Fox show, it credits Sean Baker with creating like the characters and stuff like that. But supposedly, according to him, he was having various drug issues at the time, and he wasn't really reliable, so his friends sort of like distanced themselves, made the Fox show. He regained their trust of the other creators and was involved in the IFC show, but he got checks because of the Fox show because they're based on things he created, but he wasn't that involved, and you can really tell. But if you're wondering about it, he got sober, and he used sort of his Greg the money to go back to NYU and learn more about film and meet up with the guy who made his first film. And so it actually did end up being a major part of how he became the director he was, because he had this franchise to go back to and not have to get a 9 to 5. He didn't make a ton of money, but he made enough to not have to not do filmmaking full time. And that's kind of what helped him develop into who he was, so, which actually sounds amazing for him. But he isn't involved in the Fox show at all. Like, he gets a credit, literally, it's like the last credit in the Fox show, to be clear. Now, the first episode of the Fox show, which I'm going to talk about, was Welcome to Sweet Knuckle Junction. It's kind of it very much feels like Fox trying to make a cult show, which was more of a Fox thing at the time, and them bringing in a well-seasoned sitcom writer to do that. And I'm not just saying that because I know who Stephen Levantana is. I'm saying it because it very much feels like it. Greg the Bunny is leaving with his friends, played by Seth Green, and they don't really want to get jobs. But Greg the Bunny basically is helped out by Seth Green because his dad is played by Eugene Levy, runs this this cable kid show, and called Sweet Knuckle Junction. And Greg the Bunny thinks he's coming to be an assistant, but because they're getting rid of one of the characters called Rochester because he's not really good anymore and stuff, he accidentally walks into an audition. Greg the Bunny becomes the star of Sweet Knuckle Junction, which is sort of like the plot of the Fox sitcom, is he becomes part of like this Sesame Street type thing, but isn't Sesame Street. And it's fine. I liked it more at the time. I don't think it holds up as well because it's so sort of written. I only saw the first one. I just saw random ones when I watched it originally. Although I do remember when it came out, they very much sold like this David Spade cameo, and David Spade is barely in it. I don't, you know, Sarah Silverman's in it a lot actually, and and Eugene Levy and Seth Green. But I remember them really selling that David Spade was in it when it's like not he's really not in it very much. And Jeff Ross is in it, but I don't think he was being sold on that. I generally it was fun rewatching it, but I think of cult shows at the time, it sort of plays like them trying to play both sides and like hope like they could contain its weirdness, which I don't think ever really works for a cult show. I did think it was fun at the time because it's like Seth Green was cool, and for me at the time, not as much now, but it really doesn't I don't know. It felt cooler then, and maybe because it was just like on Fox and what a network represented. Now it like I don't think it plays as well. It didn't make me want to watch any more of them. It felt like kind of a dumb idea. Like it's like, I like the idea of like, well, what if puppets are real? Like it's sort of like the Happy Town Murders, but like maybe better executed, to be honest. But I don't know. It's also like Greg the Bunny. Like they have these very elaborate puppets, and Greg the Bunny's like a hand puppet, which is something maybe they get into more in other episodes. But it did feel like sort of like a weird mixture, but not maybe cool enough weird mixture. Now I I will say Seth Green was super cool about this show. I remember him promoting it a lot, especially when he did Robot Chicken. And one of the guys, I think it's Dan Milano. Yes. He went on to work on Robot Chicken, and I've always heard he really liked doing Greg the Bunny, and he was super cool about it. The one thing, like, I will say that people forget about Seth Green. I know he's in, like, Family Guy and Robot Chicken. Robot Chicken's this institution now. When Robot Chicken started, like, he was the guy who did Family Guy and then a bunch of cult shows. Like, he didn't have, like, a real home of his own. Like, he did Buffy for a little bit. He did, I feel like he was in that 70s show, at some point. Like he was just in a bunch of stuff, and he would do cooler stuff, and oh, I didn't know Dan Milano co-created Glitch Checks. Thank you, Ryan. Anyway, then the other one I talked about, I post a link and I'm talking about tonight, is Greg the Bunny's 6th episode on IFC called Dead Puppet Storage, which is a Pulp Fiction parody. If I have to explain to you the joke of Dead Puppet Storage, you need to watch Pulp Fiction again, and I'm not saying the words that it is parodying on this stream, but you can figure it out. And don't type it in the chat either. Steve, this one is about them. It's not, so the interesting thing about this is very more shot like a Sean Baker thing. He helped write this one. He was much more creatively involved. Not every one of the IFC things he was creatively involved as much. It feels like they sort of, I don't know, he was much more involved in the War on the Ape thing. Like every episode seems like he wrote. This one, not as much. But it's about them making a Pulp Fiction parody. And then them being like, we're making a Pulp Fiction parody in 2005. Like they're criticizing IFC. They're criticizing this. I think they shot in the Kellogg's Diner in Williamsburg, which was interesting. And they debate on like who should play the Gimp, who should play this part, and it's like kind of a funny behind the scenes puppet thing. It's not hilarious. I remember it being funnier at the time. I do like that it's like not just them doing a parody, which I guess they did do and stuff, but them talking about making a parody. I think you could have had a little more fun with the concept, to be honest with you. And like, you know, what it represents for independent film and like what's it like, you know, trying to deal with indie film and stuff like that. It said they make a lot of like, you know, I think, I don't know, they make a lot of like just, you know, basically, oh, this puppet has sex, this one's saying the F word, this one's hanging out too long. Like, just like not that creative. I am surprised the show kept getting chances. And, you know, it literally goes from public, like several different networks. It's almost like Mystery Science Theater in the sense that, like, started in public access, went to one network, then another network, then this, then, you know. But this one, each version is different, which I actually do respect that about Greg the Bunny. They didn't just, like, go, this is what Greg the Bunny is. We're going to stay with this. They messed around with it. Is Sean Baker involved in these? Yes and no. It doesn't feel like it's 100% his creation, but and I tried to do ones that I felt like the first one of the Fox one I should talk about, and I wanted to talk about an IFC one from him. I didn't think it was that hilarious, but it's interesting to see where he came from, which is this rough, interesting, odd public access show that got way bigger than you'd ever think it would, and, you know, get picked up by so many different networks. And all this stuff is a crazy origin story. And I sort of love that, like, he came from this weird cult show and used it to make films. Like, even I saw an interview with him at, I think it's Comic-Con 2006, and him talking about, oh, my film that's played in festivals is getting distribution, and, like, I'm trying to make other films that are very different. And, like, it's cool that he got to use that. It's also cool that he was able to battle his demons and his addiction issues from the first iteration. Like, it feels like he blew his big shot, and he was able to come back and use that to become, you know, a filmmaker and make him the filmmaker he is today. So maybe Greg the Bunny, he is not the most creatively involved. It does not feel like you're watching a Sean Baker movie with puppets, to be clear. But I'm probably personally more of a Syphil and Ollie fan. However, I do think he did I do think it's a really unique, interesting show, and I do respect that they changed it every time. And I'm glad that he was able to come back with it and go to film school and use that success to build him into what he is today. I think is really cool. And, you know, I'm kind of glad to have revisited it. I don't know if I want to see that much more, and maybe I'll give it another shot when he has another movie. But it's interesting to think of his history with Greg the Bunny and the two different versions of it that I guess are sort of the bigger two or something. But it's cool that someone went from Greg the Bunny to being the person who won the most Oscars in a single night for one movie. Okay, we might actually, yeah, I think that was good. I hope that was good. I hope that made sense. Let's, okay, let me get the questions. I'm going to write questions below. This is the last time I'm going to say the super chat thing. If you want one, I will finish this. Whoever the, and all that. Thank you all for being here. Oh, I didn't talk about the Ralph Bakshi thing. I'll talk about that real quick. So yes, Cigarette in the Weed was discovered. I didn't expect that. I will redo that video. I'm just going to leave it out until I make the new one. It's just going to have some stuff shot, and I'll use the other stuff. And I did not realize I needed to repost. I repost the things other videos I worked on, and Saber's thing at the same time. So I had like Spicy City and Cigarette in the Weed, and neither of which were videos that I had worked on recently. Like, I'd written that one a while ago, and Cigarette in the Weed was 6 years ago. So it was a very interesting, weird Ralph Bakshi thing of content there that I didn't expect this week, but cool. I mean, whatever. I'm glad Cigarette and the Weed is out there. Thank you to their families, the Bakshi family, for doing that. I hope they release. He has a lot of lost media, so I hope that he gets more of that out. But yeah, I did not expect to be posting a Spicy City Saber video and a Cigarette and the Weed thing towards the end of the week last week. That was very random, but it's sort of, sometimes projects just happen at the same time, and there's no. Anyway, all right, let's do the Patreon question. I just thought I should acknowledge that happened. Let's do Nathaniel Foga first, then I think Sin Rams is in the other one. Yes. Oh, okay. Let's do Sin Rams first. No, let's do Nathaniel Foga. Who do you consider the last really good Oscar host? That is a good question. Probably Billy Crystal. I'd say Conan. I'd say Conan right now. This probably is not going to go over super well, but I thought the year Ellen did it, where they all did the selfie, was pretty decent. Like, she did a good job of doing it. I'm not the biggest fan of hers. I've noticed people like the Seth MacFarlane one more than people did at the time. I don't remember people liking that at all. I like certain moments of it. But I would say Billy Crystal, maybe the 2003 one was the last, like, wow, you nailed it. Semi Chris Rock, but I'm going to say Conan right now. All right. Sinram asks, saw a number of reunions during and around the show last night. In addition to the ones featured during the broadcast, there was I did see this, Jesse Eisenberg and Andrew Garfield, Whoopi and Demi, Laura Dern and Isabella Rossellini, who appeared to be wearing a blue velvet dress. Oh, you know what? I didn't realize why they're singing together. Thank you. Wow. Whoopi and Billy Crystal. Is there any particular reunion between co-stars that would warm your heart? Speaking of reunions, Samuel Jackson presented the documentary Oscar exactly 30 years after presenting for the same category of John Travolta. I remember their patter. It was fucking awful. I did say the Back to the Future one. I almost would say the Jurassic Park cast, but they did it already. I also think Tom Hanks and Robin Wright, probably. I'm not the biggest Forrest Gump fan, but I think that one would work. Even the cast of Scream, I think, would work. I think the cast of Clueless would work. Well, I guess it wouldn't, because, yeah, that would be hard. Never mind, for various reasons. I would pick, like, the movies that play, like, every summer for people. I think those would be the best choices. Even the kids from E.T. Like, when Drew Barrymore did that, I knew so many people who watched that Drew Barrymore episode. So I think, like, or if you had Ralph Macchio show up, like Mark Hamill, I get the Star Wars cast, but, like, you could there's other ones I think that or you know what I was actually thinking, Keaton and Nicholson. I think that would be wild if you got Keaton and Nicholson together. That's the only superhero one. Or even Bill and Ted. There's a lot of them you could do, but, like, my only thing with the Sari Maselli is, like, that just happened. Like, it's just, like, because I want to say, like, Smokey and the Bandit, but Burt Reynolds is dead. What is it, Ghostbusters? But we've done that too much. Like, it's sort of hard because we do too many reunions. Like, it's like, what ones don't we really do that much? But I do think Back to the Future, you could either get Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd, or bring up Leah Thompson and Biff, or Leah Thompson and Howard the Duck. I think that's what we all want. So, like, when they did the Godfather reunion, I don't think that played as well. Also, Will Smith slapped Chris Rock right before that, so it just ruined it. Anyway, Austin says, "Hey Jim, what a great show. I love the tux you're wearing and the wine glass you're drinking." This is a champagne glass, by the way, just for the insert energy drink in. My question, which is last, hopefully, up next, is a cornbread question. I think I'm not sure since I'm writing this in the past. My question, in your lifetime, who would you say the best Oscar host ever was, and who was the worst? In my lifetime, Billy Crystal, 100%. Worst, I think most people say Anne Hathaway, James Franco, who were very bad. I never liked Jimmy Kimmel, so I'm going to go with that. What? I don't like Jimmy Kimmel. I'm sorry. I don't. It's not my thing. He doesn't seem that bad, but it doesn't seem good either. All right, cornbread. Wow, you did it. Okay. Question. Brad Adelson, who is co-director of Shrek 5, said the teaser released now to get ahead of trades leaking Zendaya's casting was meant to release this December. I assume you missed this. Opinions. Yeah, I think that was who cares though? Like I don't understand why that matters to them. Like, so it leaks. Like, okay, like you wanted to do. Like, what does that matter? I really don't understand when stars do that, because it's like, okay, then just don't confirm it for like 6 months. Like, you can just say I don't know, and just like, I don't know. I don't understand Hollywood's like need to, like, if it's a big spoiler or something, but like you could have just said nah. I just think it was a way to make me stop singing Zendaya is Michi, because even when it was Dune 2, I saw Zendaya is whatever the fuck her stupid Dune name is, and in my head I was singing, anytime I say Zendaya is, in my head it plays Zendaya is Michi, because that's, everybody does that, right? It's not just me. Just tell me that was just me. Anyway, Zane Power says, given you have problems with the teaser, then you obviously agree Shrek 5 is bad as ugly Sonic and the whole movie must be redone, correct? Also, how dare Sonic have trendy celebs in it? I mean, or Shrek have trendy celebs in it. Okay, that is very Shrek, but I think it would have been better, it's like, get someone who's more, I don't know, I'm sure it's Zendaya. She's a great actor, so it'll be great. Nathaniel Foga, favorite Seth Green project? That's a good question. I actually thought he was good dramatic as in Buffy. I always liked him as that. Was he a werewolf? That and I want to say Robot Chicken. I want to say Family Guy. Yeah, I'm going to say Idle Hands. Let's say Idle Hands. Jordan Sloffalo, what are some of your favorite Demi Moore performances? I actually had a weird thing with her where, like, I wasn't really introduced to her very well, and I sort of got, I think most people in my generation who started in movies, her career was sort of like not happening as much other than G.I. Jane, and everyone would be like, she's such a big deal, and we're like, how though? Because we were kids when Ghost came out and all that stuff. I think A Few Good Men or Ghost would probably be it, but anyway, I should have just answered it that way. Cornbread, thoughts on, out of all the reviews on your channel, you will now be the best dressed reviewing Greg the Bunny. Like, are you happy with this? It did occur to me, so I was going to do a review of the first Felix the Cat tonight with Greg the Bunny, but I realized the Greg the Bunny thing needed more, so, you know, it just is. I'm just like, I'm always wearing sort of the same stuff, so if it's different, I think that's kind of good. But it is weird. People are going to be like, why is he dressed up for Greg the Bunny? It's better. I remember a quote from Axl Rose when he made the Welcome to the Jungle video, and they were like, why did you do your hair like that? And he said, I did my hair like that because people will always think, why did he do his hair like that? And that's sort of how it's like, people always go, why is he doing that? And it makes you question him. In a way, that's smart. Or he just went, I don't know, whatever. Zane Powers, why can't we have modern animal celebrities like Rin Tin Tin? And which movie would you have given him best actor for? I do not know any Rin Tin Tin. I'm sorry. I guess his role, you know, my brother-in-law, when Tintin was coming out, he's like, I can't believe they're still doing Rin Tin Tin stuff. And I looked at him like, what are you talking about? He goes, you know, Tintin, they rebooted, changed the statement. I was like, no, dude, that's like a comic. What do you do? I still think about that. I shouldn't, sorry. I thought that was very funny. Apologies to him if he's watching. I just thought, I mean, it's like, I thought it was like an interesting theory. I was like, you know, it's not a bad one. Anyway, Austin, why didn't Conan cut the strings at the Oscars? I was surprised he didn't do the string dance, but I feel like he wanted to nail it. So I think the string dance, when he's hosted it a few times, we're going to get goofier Conan. Nathaniel Fogel, what other occasions do you wear the suit? Very rarely. I think I wore it to my brother's, my cousin's wedding. Did I wear it to my cousin's wedding? No, I wore a different suit. Yeah, I just wear this for Oscars. In fact, this shirt I've had since the mid 2000s, and I was, let's say I'm right out of college then, and I'm like past 40 now, and I was like, I'm getting a new shirt for next year. Yeah. Al Vasquez, is Ryan Gosling literally us? What does that mean? What? I guess so. Let's say yes. Cornbread. This is the first time since the category's inception that Disney has not won Best Animated Feature 3 years in a row. Make a shot in the dark how long the streak will go for. I was thinking about that today, Cornbread. I was thinking that I 100% can see somebody making a big deal that, when an American animated film wins again, they'll be like, we haven't won in so long and all this stuff. In my mind, it's like, because you're not making better shit, dude. But I think I sort of think it could continue for a bit, but we'll see what this year brings. Zane Powers, question: doesn't it make you feel just so strong and powerful that you can just berate fast food employees for hours on end, insulting them nonstop, and they are powerless to stop you? No, it doesn't. I don't like it when people do that, to be totally honest with you. The thing for the new Shrek design, are you getting any vibes from the initial look they had for the Chris Farley one? Because I certainly was. Oh, that's a good take, actually. Now that you bring it up, yes. Cornbread, no mention to the Hugh Jackman Oscar. The Hugh Jackman Oscars were very good, but I've always heard that was because of Dan Harmon. But Zane Powers, what did you think of the Razzie winners? I thought I mentioned that, but yeah, I'm happy for Coppola. I thought he did a good job accepting. Al Vasquez, who would you like to host the Oscars if they switch to streaming? I think Conan's fine. I'd just stick with Conan. I wouldn't mind Conan. I thought this has actually been the award shows I watched this year. I guess I watched the Golden Globes, the Grammys, and the Oscars. And all three of the hosts I was okay with. I think Trevor Noah was maybe the weakest of the three, and he was still pretty good. So I'd say any of those three. But I kind of just let's just stick with Conan. That seems to be working. I wouldn't mind Seth Meyers, but it sounds like he's sort of not. He likes just doing his thing at 12:30, and let him do that if he wants to. Nathaniel Foga, favorite moment from this year's Oscars? The Honora wins, or No Other Man's Land, or the documentary win, I would say. Or, Flow. Those would be the ones. Not plausible. What other comedian do you think would kill as an Oscar? Okay, a lot of these. Okay, you know what? The Muppets, though. The Muppets, I've heard a lot of people say it should be Joe Rogan, which I don't agree with. Comedian, Chris Rock is pretty reliable. I like Taylor Tomlinson, but I don't think she would be the best. I think she's better as a solo thing. Yeah, probably just Conan, to be honest. I can't think of anyone else off the top of my head. The Wessonator, or other than Nikki Laser, and yeah, those would be fine. The Wessonator, any extra early Oscar predictions for next year, like Mickey 17, Wicked, For Good, Avatar 3, or maybe even Del Toro's Frankenstein? I think Del Toro's Frankenstein will get some stuff. We really don't know, and it's like, I didn't know Amelia Perez was going to happen. I didn't know Flo was going to happen. So, to me, I know people are already trying to push that today. Don't try to push it. It's really lame. And you never, if you look at those by the time the year's over, they look fucking stupid. Just cut it out. I don't know. Sorry, Weston, I don't mean to be a dick. I think Mickey 17 possibly. I actually think Superman could end up getting a lot of technical categories possibly. But I don't know, I feel like I get more hype for 2026 than 2025, so we'll see. Zane Powers, now that Disney is backing down from inclusiveness and political correctness matters, does that mean they'll finally release Song of the South? I actually thought that myself. No, because Iger actually watched Song of the South. I talked about this in my Song of the South review I did forever. I did a review of Song of the South. And he said, I will actually watch it and make a decision. And then he did and said, no, we're not releasing this. I don't think they will. And I don't think they should. I wouldn't mind if they gave it to a Kino or a Criterion and released a educational, for the people who want to see it, but I don't think it should be for a streaming service for anyone to see. It's a little too. But I have thought that. Trust me. I was like, Jesus, is that going to happen now? I wouldn't be surprised if it did, but I don't think it should. Zane Powers, thoughts on Skype shutting down? I'm sad because when I used to be able to do Patreon calls, I used to do Skype on. That's probably what I mainly used, and we used Skype to do some pizza party stuff. It's sad to hear it go, that's all. Cornbread, Mikey Madison is the first Ghostface to win an Oscar. Who's going to be the next, and who is never going to win an Oscar and become Ghostface in real life? Matthew Lillard gets my answer for both questions. According to anonymous ballots, abstain was supposed to sweep all the shorts categories. Nice. Wait. Hold on. Where are we? Okay. Where were we? Sorry. Oh, we have a lot of questions. Okay, sorry. You think Adrian's Brody speech would have been when was Newgrounds funny? What? You think Adrian's speech would have been sure. Zane Powers, does a movie like Neatha 2 become the highest grossing animated film? It does not count because it's not American. You only consider American cinema real cinema. I have heard people say that, but I do think it counts, and it means a bigger thing that you can do that in just one region. I think it speaks more to that, to be honest with you. Cineram, did you see the Fox Lloyd reunion on the Jimmy Kimmel in 2015, the same year that Back to the Future 2 is set? I did see it on Jimmy Kimmel. I remember that. It was cute. Not plausible. Which fictional character design would benefit most by giving them a pair of blue jeans? Porky Pig, maybe? Should Randy Quaid host the Oscars? Embellity? No. What happened to masturbating beer during the evening for Embellity? I don't know. I was disappointed, but Triumph didn't get a shout out. Same Powers, thoughts on Mr. Beast saying he lost tens of millions of dollars on Beast games? I don't give a fuck about that guy. Austin, when are you going to watch Death Promise? It will blow your mind. Death Promise? What is that? What? I don't understand. Death Promise. Death Promise. What? Oh, looks cool. Oh, maybe. If I have the time. If it's in the movie, that looks neat. Question, with Luca Guadagnino bringing back Stanley Kubrick's Aryan Papers, what other unmade movies should be resurrected, like Paul Verhoeven's Crusade? I didn't know about... A lot of people tried that. There's a couple Orson Welles things that are like mostly shot and just need to be edited, so I'd say that, to be honest with you. Remember that time in the Dilbert cartoon where they depicted people who believe in evolution as either suckers or scammers? No, this is not a joke. I do not remember that. Super Dusky, since we have a Dogman, Peanuts, and Captain Underpants movie, can we get a PG or PG-13 Sam or Max movie in comics? I think that sounds like a good idea, so I'm cool with that. Zane Powers, so what are the chances of Emilio Perez director's next movie getting nominated to the Oscars? I feel like he's pretty well regarded, so he might be able to do that, to be honest. Ryan Walterson, who's an anime character you want to present at the Oscars? Wallace and Gromit. Yeah, they didn't do anything with like the wild robot showing up. Let Shrek come back. Let Shrek back. Stop manning him. The Westinator, if you were a big celebrity, which Oscar category would you want to present, and how would you do it? It would do Best Animated Feature, and I'd mention all the people nominated by name. Talk about how cool they were. 100%. Like, come on, you have Nick Park, you have Chris Sanders, you have like all these amazing people. Like, why wouldn't you talk about them? I don't know. That kind of bugs me about it, to be honest with you. Same Powers. People were upset that the last Game Awards for category fraud, with the collection of old games being nominated for DLC, being nominated for Game of the Year. What do you fall on that? I don't understand that. So I guess if it's old, no. But if it was big enough of a deal and people are okay with that, why the Larkamosha? What? Embellity, I'm confused. Cornbread. Obviously, you're behind the room temperature Muppets host pick, but what about my completely original, unrelated to the stream, Greg the Bunny host for 2028? I'm okay with that. Remember when people predicted Joker 2? Thank you, Embellity. That is why. Don't listen to early Oscar predictions. Don't listen to Oscar predictions if they haven't seen the movie. They're dumb predictions. Zane Powers, worst Oscar prediction you've ever seen, either for what would be nominated or win. I remember Harry Potter, before it came out, they said it was going to sweep every category, like Entertainment Weekly and stuff, and I don't know. Question, can you scream at the very top of your lungs to end the stream? No, because people are sleeping. I'm not doing that. Anyway, okay. We've done a long show. I will be back next week. There'll definitely be something tomorrow. I don't know about when else. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for super chats during the show. If anyone wants to do a last one where I finish this class, you can. But if not, I'll just end the show with it. Thank you all. I hope the Greg the Bunny thing made sense. I don't. We'll find out later. And thank you for watching everything lately. And yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say other than thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. Check out the Oscar Facts video. I thought that was cool. It's always fun to do stuff with my little son. And I guess that's everything. All right, well. All right, be safe. Take care. Thank you all for being here. Cheers to all of you. And good night. I'll see you next week. I'm sure there'll be other movie news to talk about. Cheers to you all. And see you all next time. All right. Subscribe. Peace. Bye.